An increasing number of people in their golden years are embarking on a journey not commonly associated with retirement. They are becoming entrepreneurs, turning passions into businesses and reshaping the landscape of modern work. Welcome to the age of the seniorpreneur.
I think it's very true that 50s, 60s, 70s are not what they were 20 or 30 years ago. People are still very youthful. They're looking for something to do that's satisfying, rewarding as a second career. So I think that being an entrepreneur becomes attractive towards that sector of society.
8 years ago, my husband and I retired, and that lasted 3 months. He went back to work, which he's still doing and still loving. There I was with nothing to do.
I think retirement means something different now. In today's, not just economically for your own finances, but for also your mind.
I do find you need to keep moving. You need to keep driving yourself forward. And I don't think I'm ever going to actually retire.
I think it just becomes an option for people who are perhaps looking for a career change. If you've worked for 20, 30 years in a particular career, you're perhaps not finding that as satisfying as it used to be. So entrepreneurism is a viable option.
Woodland North Lavender Farm was born in June of 2021 out of the pure desire to utilize the land that we have here. We bought a 94-acre parcel of land, and we have about 9 acres of pasture. So I wanted to do something that would bring a little bit of fun and entertainment to the community. I wanted to find a crop that was going to align with my culinary sort of desires. I love to cook and create. I make all of my own products except maybe 2 or 3. I don't make my own soap, but I do make linen sprays and lavender sachets and bouquets and things like that. So the culinary aspect is what really inspires me, using the lavender in making like herbe de Provence, using it in butter. I do butter making workshops. Also, my lavender shortbread cookies have become quite popular, and I'm now shipping them into Quebec. A lot of the farm is going to be focused towards workshops on teaching people how to eat flowers, how to eat herbs, how to add them to your everyday meals. So it's more than just the plants of the lavender, but it's how to eat more from nature. And my one really popular class early in the spring is foraging for wild leeks. So it's a great little walk out in nature and learning how to identify the plant and how to harvest it so the plant will keep coming back and mature and stay around and not be on the endangered list. A big focus to the farm is to make it interactive with all ages and all abilities. Through crafting and, the workshops that I do. Well, my slogan is come on, get outside. So I encourage people to be out, to be in nature more, to breathe deep. We've had a rough few years, and I think it's really important to nurture nature and to understand that we need to work with nature. I do want people to be able to come here, have an affordable workshop, learn something, and enjoy the space. The focus is always to allow people to come and relax. And I tell everyone that attends a workshop, if you need an adult timeout and you want to just come and eat your sandwich here on your lunch hour, you're more than welcome. We have loads of picnic tables. So I want people to take advantage of the fact that I have this land and the doors are open for everyone to use it with me.
8 years ago, my husband and I retired. We gave up our 5-day-a-week work week and retired. And that lasted 3 months. He went back to work, which he's still doing and still loving. There I was with nothing to do. It just seemed like all the ducks kind of got in a row. And I had a store before quite a while ago, and it just really wasn't the right timing for it. I wanted to sell my art, but I also wanted to teach. Watercolor lessons to me was my way of helping other people enjoy the absolute beauty of the creativity of watercolor. So we opened the store. Then we got into other things, brought other things in as they fit with what we were doing. And today we have this store. It's reasonably successful, but the most important thing is I'm doing what I love. The whole COVID thing was pretty terrifying for everybody, especially us. We're older and the sensitive group, they called us. But through it all, I would come into my store, even though we couldn't be open some of the time. I would turn on Rod Stewart and I would dance and I would sing and I would paint. And people would come and paint with me, one person or two people. And especially for them, they would get out of the house. A lot of them were single people that lived by themselves. So we were able to share an experience of painting. It just got me through that. To me, the most important thing is I helped other people do that. People that I knew were really lonely and isolated, and I'd say, come over. We would distance. They'd be at one end of the table, I'd be at the other. We would wear a mask, but we would paint together. And it helped them and it helped me too. I have seen women that are my age who come in and I've known them for a while and they look old and they seem old to me. I don't imagine myself that way. I am just way too busy to get old. Not only has it kept me feeling young, my brain goes 100 directions every day, and I meet so many exciting people. They come in the store and we just connect, and they're doing another kind of business, and I'm just so interested. I'm always percolating an idea of how to change the store, how to bring new life to it. I know people come in and they say, oh, this is the same as it was 2 months ago or 4 months ago. Well, they don't do that here, because every week I change something and move something, and when something sells, I have to fill that spot.
Whole Nook Grains is an artisanal bread company. We do artisanal loaves here, made with wild culture, or sourdough as most people know it. So we do 3 times a week bakes here. We have a variety of different types of sourdough breads. So we have everything from kind of like a very brown one to, the classic white sourdough. And we do a couple in between, fruit and nuts, and a couple of low gluten loaves with the ancient grains. We use all mostly whole grain flour, which is from Tottingham, Ontario. And we love this flour. This really brings, Brian King is the miller and owns the farm, and his family, and they do wonderful wheat there. I've always been a bread baker, but I was challenged by my husband to start to look at creating my own yeast and making these kind of crusty artisanal loaves. Frustrated at first and didn't know whether or not this was going to be worth doing. There seemed to be a bit of a hole that I thought I would try to fill, and also create this bakery, a place for my husband and I to retire when he's ready. Started to have the bread go out to testers. So that was my first step, is to see whether or not I was onto something in terms of product. And whether or not I had a skill level to be able to do that and keep, because this, you keep learning and growing with this product. I think you'll never really stop learning how to make good bread. I have a mission for the bakery and what I want to bring to the community. So those things are really in the forefront. And that's what I want to achieve, and create a business and obviously make a living out of it. I think this is a nutritional choice for people, and it is an option that they can now have. And also a place where they can come. I wanted to be part of a statement that said we don't have to rely on the supply chain to bring bread to the table. You know, we can do it all right here. We don't even need the commercial yeast. I'm making my own right out of the flour and water that we have right here, you know, in Ontario. So we're getting kind of a reputation for quality bread that makes people feel good. I have customers who have said, you know, I can't eat any other kind of bread but yours. And there is some science behind the sourdough culture for gut health and everything. So I'm thrilled that people tell me these stories.
So when I moved down here, I was kind of at a time of my life where I always wanted to move down here, but how? Like, how do you move down here and actually make money? Because you still have to pursue paying the bills. And I met this woman who had her own jamming business, and we started chatting, and she said she was selling the business. And that's how this happened, like just happenstance. When I bought the jam business, it was all full sugar. And to be honest, I like to pickle. I never really made jams. And when I saw the amount of sugar that was going into the jams, it was like gross. And so I thought, how can I reduce that? And just different eureka moments came along. That was 12 years ago, and now we're here where we are, but it didn't start out like that. I found this natural pectin. Then that was setting the jam, not the sugar, and it allowed me to reduce the sugar at a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 cups of fruit to 1 cup of sugar. And if you've ever made regular jam, it's usually like a 50-50 or 60-40. So that was the first eureka. Then the next thing was, I wonder if I could make a jam for diabetics without using sugar. There was a need for it. There's like, 1 in 3 Canadians are diabetic or pre-diabetic. So it's really good timing how this all happened. And then the other thing was, I never used preservatives. So we just continued not using preservatives. And that's how that was all born. So that's the route we're sticking with. And as time goes on, of course, we're going to develop more products, because that's my favorite part. Well, I'm really proud to do this. When we do markets and you meet people that are diabetic and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, we're so limited to what we can eat. We're so limited to what we can make. There's just not enough of this out, you know, they're thrilled. And of course, that makes me feel really good too. I don't think it is a luxury item. I think people that are diabetics that can't get these kind of products, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Obviously, I'd like to see this get on more and more shelves as an option for people that are diabetic or you know, gluten intolerant. I wish there was more education out there, and this is what I'm hoping will happen, for people to understand what it is that they're eating. You pick up a label, you don't even know what half of it is, but on the front it says no sugar. Well, what's actually in that? So that is my mission, really, right now.
This was an aunt's recipe that we started many, many years ago. And it's lay buried for many years because we had it at home, but we never really did anything with it. A lot of people asked for it. A lot of our friends would say, hey, you got some more of that sauce? And so it was sort of put on the back burner, and it wasn't anything that we thought would ever become anything. 35 of us went to OFBCA, I think it's called Ontario Agri-Food, whatever, and you can rent the kitchen for a half a day or a whole day and make your product. So we went there, and after the tour, the fellow said, is anybody here has something they would like to produce? And I mentioned my sauce, and that's where it got started, right there in 2017. I went in with it in the beginning of July. The end of July, I was diagnosed with cancer. And the next 2 years were not the greatest, but we got through it. And in that time, when I was feeling okay, I contacted different stores and whatever by phone or even went in. I was giving it to all the nurses and the doctors and anybody who would listen to me. Right now, we're in 132 to 35 stores. Restaurants is where I need to go. I've had only a few of them, but butcher shops. I've got a lot of butcher shops. I've got a lot of high-end stores and also independent stores. Everybody loves the sauce that have tried it. Okay, I give a lot away, okay, because what I give to you, you're bringing back to me. I'm very fortunate. I have aches and pains. I've had a lot of very bad medical stuff happen, but I'm here. And a lot, they can't get rid of me, you know. And for me, the future is my daughter, my family. My really big goal is this should be a household name. I will do whatever is necessary to make my sauce go. But I obviously feel that I can only take it so far. But a big company can take it much further. But they keep me, they keep my name, they keep the sauce, they don't change it. I believe with all my heart that whatever comes along, like you have so many people that, oh, I can't do that. My motto is, watch me, okay? Don't tell me I can't do it, because I will do it. I wake up in the morning and I give it 100%. Whatever comes my way, if I can control it, then I work with it. If I can't, I accept it and deal with it. And I've done that my whole life. I'm having fun. And I think too many people don't.
Many seniors are finding new purpose in entrepreneurship. They bring a lifetime of experience, wisdom, and resilience to the table, challenging the traditional notions of retirement. This documentary aims to shed light on this remarkable trend, to tell the stories of those venturing into entrepreneurship and achieving great success. Join us as we explore the lives, challenges, and triumphs of these inspiring individuals. The motivations are varied as the individuals themselves. For some, it's about pursuing a long-held dream. For others, it's a necessity born from financial need or a desire to remain active and engaged. Their journeys are not without challenges. Yet, these seniorpreneurs demonstrate remarkable adaptability, learning new skills and embracing new technologies.
I started my career in the corporate environment, was fortunate enough to work for a company that had a lot of management education programs. So I was very well educated in how to run a business. And in fact, for that corporation, started up businesses around the world, 4 continents. At a certain moment in time, I had to decide if I wanted to get married, have a more personal life and all of that. And my husband and I relocated at that stage from Toronto to Kingston. And opened a business. So that was 1990, and we ran that business for 30 years. I was the chief executive officer of the business. It was an engineering firm, and he was the engineering component. So that business was sold in December 2019. And at that time, it was really by chance that a colleague of mine, who I knew through Queen's, she was the director of Queen's Innovation and Partnerships, asked me if I would join a project that was funded by the federal government called We Can. That program has ended now, but as a result of those connections, I'm doing work through different incubators, a Launch Lab, Kingston Economic Development, Spark Centre in Durham, LSpark in Ottawa, Synergy Lab, all helping entrepreneurs.
In recent years, a significant shift is being observed. More and more seniors are turning to entrepreneurship, embarking on new adventures that defy traditional retirement plans.
Entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes, and as well as perhaps more traditional people starting businesses in their 20s or 30s. Certainly I work with a more mature group as well. Most of them are serial entrepreneurs.
I've had many careers, not very many that brought me joy, but it was more like a job. So when I decided to do this, I really understood how comfortable it is to get up in the morning, dress how you want, be how you want, meet great people, enjoy some culinary delights, and, be in nature. I can plan my day and develop this business how I want to do it. So I do like being sort of in control. But the development for the business is, I'm a little bit free-flowing on that, but I do want people to be able to come here, have an affordable workshop, learn something, and enjoy the space.
I would never just sit at home. I'd be doing something, but this is a full-time job. It just keeps me occupied all the time. And I meet so many exciting people. They come in the store and we just connect, and they're doing another kind of business, and I'm just so interested. I don't think I would be that way if I was just retired.
When you believe in yourself, when you believe there isn't anything you can't do, and you believe that whatever's coming your way is your choice. And I've done many things in my career, many things. Never went after one of them. It happened. The same as this. I did not expect that. Okay, and I will take it as far as I can take it. It's not a dream, it's a reality, okay? I'm 83. When I'm 85, what I want to do with it is, I am not hoping, and it's not an if, it's a reality, that how many years can I do this? And how big will this get? And that's where I'm heading.
My mother-in-law at the time, she was a farm girl and did all sorts of canning. And I never grew up canning or anything like that, so I took that on. And I loved it. I really loved it. And I had to think about it for a little bit. And then I thought, if I'm going to do it, now's the time, because I was in my early 50s. And so that's how that all came about. Yeah, so that was 12 years ago. And now we're here where we are, but it didn't start out like that. And it morphed into many different things, to the point where now we know what we want to make, and we have a niche that we're, the no sugar, no preservatives, etc. But along the way, it was very bumpy.
I think a lot of people suddenly realize that their lifestyle could change for the better, and that being self-employed or being an entrepreneur was a vehicle to get to that lifestyle change. So I think that caused many people to really evaluate their professional life and that life-work balance that we all strive for.
As we've seen, the rise in senior entrepreneurship is not just a trend, but a paradigm shift. These individuals are not only redefining retirement, but are also proving that age is no barrier to fulfilling dreams and contributing significantly to our economy and society. What drives individuals in their later years to venture into entrepreneurship? These entrepreneurs have diverse motivations behind this growing movement, revealing how financial necessity, passion, and the pursuit of a second career are igniting their entrepreneurial spirits.
Their life experience to date is a big advantage. I think too, maybe as one matures, you become more grounded in reality. So I think realistic expectations is something that they certainly bring to the table. And oftentimes they're able to bring resources to the table, be that financial resources or whatever.
I chose this part of the country to be close to family, and also from my market research, it was a very good place to start a bread company of this kind, of this nature. The number one thing about this business is, or being in trying to make your own yeast and create these loaves, is obviously discipline, right from having to get up first thing in the morning to go to bed very late and, keep things running. Details, so small details are really important, how things smell, what the texture is like, keeping track of time, ambient pressures, all of these like small things that affect the culture and the dough, because they're so naturally leavened that you have to, remembering those things, I think, are really important for customer service.
My mind never stops, and I'm always looking at the future. And for me, no, I'm not ready and was never ready. I've done many things. I retired. I had a stroke when I was teaching, and I had to quit. But the thing is there's things I can't do, but there's so much I can. I think it's more my life than anything. I never gave up, and I never said no to whatever was happening. I love doing that, and I think that's what life's about.
Often when people come in and talk to me about my business, they're undecided. They're not sure if they can do it. They're not sure if it would be successful. So I talk to them about what it is that they really love to do. Sometimes it's painting, but other times it's other kinds of things, basket weaving, weaving of blankets, like something that you also have ability to be creative and use your artistic talents that you've developed for years. And all they need sometimes is just a little nudge, just a little, I was where you are 5 years ago. And I'm just so happy that I got pushed into making that decision. I love when young people come in, especially if they're just starting out buying a home and they don't have a whole lot of money. I love helping them. And I think being my age is helpful in that, because they know that I have experience and I know what colors go together.
I hardly ever tell people my real age, but I am 55. And when I started this business, I didn't give any thought to digging holes and, lugging plants and things like that. But I do find you need to keep moving. You need to keep driving yourself forward. So I don't think with a piece of property this size, I'm ever going to retire and just sit back and say, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to take time for me, because this really is time for me to do what I love. And I do encourage people, if they have an idea, I think it's important to know that you don't have to have all the answers before you jump into a business. Writing a business plan is great, but a lot of people don't know how, and it gets overwhelming, and then they stop their inspiration. So I think all you need when it comes to building any business is one person to give you the thumbs up and help you and support you. And even if you don't have that one person, look within yourself, look at your idea, look at what you're willing to risk, and just go for it. It doesn't matter what your age is.
Well, when I bought the business, I wasn't in the position to retire. I couldn't afford to. It's basically financial. I think, one, you have to really believe in what it is that you're selling. I think you can sell anything if you truly believe in what it is that you're making. And yeah, it's scary because we've had to get loans and grants, and grants are great, but mostly loans. You have to just take a leap of faith. If you stop to think about it too hard, you won't do it. And it really does take a certain type of person to trust themselves, to trust their decisions. I think I'd be sorry if I didn't. I would always be asking myself, well, what would have happened? What if? And so instead, I have to find out what if.
Certainly when you're on the younger end of things, I think you have more physical stamina and energy. I think that's just a fact of life. People do tend to slow down a little bit. So one perhaps doesn't want to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, as you see some of the startup people doing. But I don't think that it's necessary to work like that in order to be successful. So maybe on the other side of that coin too, having that maturity means that you can plan to work smart and not just hard.
From a desire to connect with the community to fulfilling unmet needs in the market, senior entrepreneurs are driven by a blend of personal passion and practicality. Their life experiences, coupled with a newfound freedom in their later years, are shaping a new era of business, one that values wisdom, connection, and social impact. This is what fuels the movement behind the senior entrepreneurship. Embarking on an entrepreneurial journey in one's later years is not without its challenges. Senior entrepreneurs face unique hurdles, from adapting to new technologies to navigating health concerns and societal barriers.
It is hard work being an entrepreneur, and it's not a straight line from A to B. There are all kinds of curves along the way and things that happen that you cannot anticipate. It's interesting too, because when I teach planning and I help people go through that business plan, I always say to them, the reason we're doing this is not so you have a lovely plan at the end of this. Isn't this a beautiful thing? It's the thought process of going through it that's really important. And that thought process of going through it and continue asking yourself the what if question. What if this happens? What if this happens? Prepares you to be able to change strategy or take advantage of new market conditions. So I think that they are key things, but you have to have a tremendous amount of tenacity.
I learned a lot about the challenges in growing lavender, on a north-facing hill and things like that. So I did a lot of research about different plants, and I met a fantastic woman that owns a lavender farm just a little bit north of Port Perry. And she was a really great inspiration to me. And she actually came here to check the soil to see if we could actually grow lavender here. And once she was here and found the soil was perfect conditions, then we just moved ahead and put 650 plants in the ground. So I think the fact that it's a very unique plant to grow, and not everyone can do it. So it does take a little bit of willingness to, I lost 130 plants in my first year. So it was a little bit devastating, but then I had someone remind me that was a very big learning curve for me, which is true. So I took that knowledge and adjusted some of the rows of my plants and, moved them to a more healthy location.
There were times where I was getting very little sleep and having to just run a lot of things on my own, and it was it was a lot of stresses on joints and on and you're just like, oh my God, I am getting old. Geez. But I think you just press on if you really want it.
At first, people weren't keen because they liked the way this other person made the jam, so that was a bit of a barrier to break through. That took a couple of years. It took a while. It took about 5 years before we were able to make no sugar products the way we're making them now. And just the response was huge. Most recently with the pandemic, we couldn't cook because the place we were cooking at closed down because they didn't know how they were going to open and be able to continue working under the new health regulations. Glass has gone up. The size of jars that we used to use for our jam, couldn't find them. So now you have to switch to a new jar. With that, we had to switch labels. Finding where you can get the product. You know, like right now, we still charge the same amount that we did 12 years ago. We can't change that. But at the same time, prices of everything have gone up.
You're going to put a lot of your own personal finances, resources into that business. So as you get older, you're perhaps more security oriented in terms of preserving any funds that you might have, looking at your retirement. So that's certainly something that has to be carefully considered. So I see that as a barrier. Again, post-COVID, that was such a disruptive period of time that nobody really knows what business normal is. And then, of course, we've got stuff on the horizon like the increase in interest rates and some uncertainty about the economy.
Despite these challenges, senior entrepreneurs demonstrate remarkable resilience and adaptability, turning obstacles into opportunities by drawing on a lifetime of experience and a deep well of perseverance. Success is measured not just in profits, but in the joy and fulfillment these ventures bring as these seniorpreneurs turn their dreams into reality.
So my daughter has been a very instrumental part in encouraging me. She's a biologist and a scientist of nature and is a protector of nature. She always has been. So I've learned a lot from her. And now I have the opportunity to teach those things to other people. I want to open the doors to people that don't have the opportunity to enjoy 94 acres of untouched forest. There's beautiful trails here to walk, and there's loads of nature, lots of animals that I've never seen up close before. And as the business grows, I'm hoping to maybe add like a coffee bar or, a small venue where I could make, sandwiches and things like that.
When I opened here a year or two later, it was 36 stores I was in. And people started to really like it. Right now, we're in 132 to 35 stores. I'm not interested at this point in going into big stores because it sits on the shelf. And the bottom line for me is I believe in this sauce. And so it's unlimited where we can go. And I keep getting new ones all the time. And also people come in the store here and they take it everywhere or they send it.
And today we have this store. It's reasonably successful, but the most important thing is I'm doing what I love. That the whole COVID thing was pretty terrifying for everybody, especially us. We're older and then a sensitive group. But through it all, I would come into my store, sing, and I would paint. And people would come and paint with me, one person or two people. And especially for them, they would get out of the house. A lot of them were single people that lived by themselves. So we were able to share an experience of painting. To me, the most important thing is I helped other people do that.
When customers tell me they, bring a little piece up to bed or put it on the nightstand or, that's something that they can have because they have a sugar imbalance or so because our breads don't have any sugar in them either or anything. They're very lean doughs and the wheat is what brings the flavor and the fermentation. And so these are the things that keep the customers coming back and new customers discovering the bread. This place has enough room to build out. So we can add a second oven, we can put more fridges in, maybe one or two more people, and we could build it out. My kind of dream would be to have a few satellite bread shops.
We're going to develop more products because that's my favorite part. Well, I'm really proud to do this. When we do markets and you meet people that are diabetic and they're like, oh my God, we're so limited to what we can eat. I think people that are diabetics that can't get these kind of products, It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Obviously, I'd like to see this get on more and more shelves as an option for people that are diabetic or gluten intolerant. I wish there was more education out there, and this is what I'm hoping will happen, for people to understand what it is that they're eating. You pick up a label, you don't even know what half of it is, but on the front it says, no sugar. Well, what's actually in that? So that is my mission, really, right now.
Their resilience, creativity, and willingness to embrace new challenges redefine success and inspire us all. It's a launchpad for new beginnings and triumphant achievements. There's a growing recognition of the need for specific support and resources tailored to the experiences and contributions of senior entrepreneurs. These tools play a crucial role in guiding seniorpreneurs towards success.
Regardless of whether I'm working with somebody who's looking to start a business or somebody that's looking to grow a business, there are 4 pillars that I evaluate. And one might sound really, really basic, but you'll be surprised how often it's overlooked. Does anybody want to buy your product or service, right? That market fit. It's really so incredibly critical, and you'd be amazed how many people launch businesses not knowing the answer to that question. So they haven't done their market research, so that's really key. Number 2 is your go-to-market strategy. So okay, you've validated that this is a business that people are going to want to buy your product or service. How are you going to let people know about it so they can become customers? The 3rd is your process, your fulfillment processes. How are you going to deliver it? If it's something you're manufacturing, what's your manufacturing processes? Or if it's a service, how are you going to deliver that service? And then the 4th and the most critical is it going to make money? Is it financially sustainable and viable? Make sure that you've got your business plan, your financial forecast, your cash flow analysis. Make sure that you've secured enough income for your future and your retirement, and that you're not jeopardizing your future financial resources for the sake of this venture. And I say that to everybody, but particularly as you're becoming more mature, obviously that becomes more important.
When I first moved down to the county to take this business over, I found myself surrounded, first of all, with a lot of entrepreneurial women around my age doing all sorts of things, like in the arts, the writers, the painters, the potters, the glass makers, and that really helps when you're because it's a very solitary kind of thing that we do. Even though there's people helping me, you're the one who's making all the decisions and taking the chances. So it really does help to be around people that are like you, and we can share the highs and lows, successes and failures, and be able to sort of get up and shake yourself off and move forward.
I'm a very easy person to just sort of get that sort of complacent level, and then I'm driving myself to the next step, which is hard for some people to understand, but I'm grateful my husband is very understanding and supportive of that. I do feel sometimes like I have too much on my plate, or I, can't manage what I have on the go. And then I sit back and reevaluate, take a day off, but then you get back up and you go for the idea that you have, and you just put every piece of energy that you have into it.
Your network is one of your most valuable assets. You know that you can reach out to somebody who knows you, you have credibility, make connections with others. This is so incredibly valuable. Out there, you can learn all manner of things, whether you take an online course or you sign up for a course at your university or community college or whatever. It's all available. There is a lot of resources available in terms of education, but there is more government funding, provincial and federal, than I have ever seen available to help entrepreneurs start up. I believe it's upward of 80% of people are employed by small and medium-sized businesses. So yeah, from an economic point of view, it's extremely important that the government assists people taking that choice.
With the right support and guidance, these seasoned individuals are not only starting businesses, but are also significantly contributing to their communities and the economy. It's important that these support structures are available to foster successful senior entrepreneurship.
If there is such a thing as a legacy, going out of this world knowing you've done the best you can do with what you got, but at my age now, have fun. And that's what it's all about. I love my work. This is my home away from home.
I don't want to fail. It's my baby, right? I've brought it to fruition. We get a lot of feedback, which is excellent. And when they say, oh, I got senior stuff, oh, it's fantastic. And oh, I got this as a gift for someone. And that's very reaffirming.
I never really think about my age holding me back.
I think there's more calmness, there is more gratitude, there's feelings of like, I'm just lucky to be here and lucky to be able to have this business and be able to work at it every day.
Age is just a number. Age can be, you can make yourself feel older or younger depending on how you think. When you get up in the morning, it's up to you. It's really up to you.
Their journeys challenge the traditional notions of retirement, proving that age is just a number when it comes to fulfilling dreams and contributing to society. Let the stories of these inspiring seniorpreneurs remind us that it's never too late to start to pursue a passion and to make a meaningful impact.